Hi guys, welcome back. So I normally get asked this question: how did you end up being an international student studying at the University of Cape Town in South Africa, all the way from Makueni, Kenya? And today, in this moment, in this channel, I'll be answering the same exact question. But before we get started, kindly subscribe to this YouTube channel, hit that notification bell so that you get notified every single time I upload a new video. So I feel like before I even get started, I have two major things I wanna emphasize on, so that if you feel like this video is not for you, then I don't want to waste your time. So the first point is, I am Kenyan by nationality, by birth, by residency. I'm just 100% Kenyan. And number two, I am coming from a very humble family. So if you're watching this and you're also coming from a very humble family in terms of finances, and you're wondering, how do I study abroad and I don't have the money for such type of education, then this is the video for you. Keep watching and I hope you learn something from it. So I personally went through the normal 844 Kenyan system. So 844 Kenyan system is 8 years of primary school, 4 years of high school, 4 years of tertiary education. So I personally went through 8 years of primary school and 4 years of high school. So in primary school, I went to a very local public village rural primary school, literally in the interior of Ukambani. So if you went to Mutingini primary school, then hello, I'm an alumni and I'm proud of that because that's where I come from. And in high school, I went to Machakos Girls High School in Machakos Town. So when did my exposure, or when did I actually learn about, people can go study abroad and so forth, so forth. So I wouldn't like to say I had any much prior knowledge in primary school because I come from a very small community and I didn't have exposure back then. So my exposure kind of started when I went to high school. So that's when I met people from different, counties and different walks of Kenya, and my exposure of how the world works kind of started. So in my high school, we used to have programs where the school would host mentors and speakers who would come to speak to us, and I used to be very focused in those speaking sessions because I used to enjoy learning more from those people. So the school would send us university students to come to talk us about university life, or just different topics. So in these interactions, there was this one speaker who was taking us through the whole application to study abroad, how to get the right documentation and all that. So at that particular moment, that's when my curiosity, I think, was sparked to actually want to know more about how do I even go study abroad. I don't even have a passport, I don't even have a national ID, such type of things. You don't know anyone, in Kenya you have to know someone who knows someone, someone, those connections, you don't have, anyone, any connection, and you're wondering, so how do I, ever gonna get out of this country and actually see what, other people outside this country, do, or, such curiosity. I'm guessing that's why you're also watching this video. So so I feel for me that's when my curiosity was sparked, and I was a very hardworking student. So for me, it was a matter of, I didn't want to be disadvantaged just because I didn't have the grades. So I would be one day I want to do this, I want to get out of here, I want to study in these nice universities, but I don't want to have miss a chance or an opportunity just because I didn't have good grades. So I would work so hard so that having good grades is not a reason of why I couldn't get to a dream school or something. So in high school, if you know me, you probably yeah, you know, I really worked hard in high school, and I passed really well, and I'm grateful for that, to God, and yeah, to everyone who supported me through education in high school. So then came the question of like, okay, so I've passed and the dream is still valid. I still wanna, you know, like study abroad, but then how do you integrate the system? Where do you begin? Like, you can't just wake up today and pack your bag and go abroad. Do you get the point? Where do you go? Who do you don't know anyone. Where do you land? Where do you begin? So those are the type of questions that kind of like will give you a headache. But you know, if you have the passion and the determination, anything is really possible. And I remember I had to talk to my family about the same, and my family was really against the idea, because remember, I also come to a very like non-exposed family, so like coming to tell them like you wanna, you know, like study your undergraduate outside the country, and they'll ask you, okay, so who do you know there? What are you going to study? Who will even pay for that school fees? We cannot afford such type of school fees. So you see, like those type of questions, those type of frictions, but those are just aspects that should not like hinder you from, like, if you really want to go through with it, shouldn't stop you from actually looking for ways to how to get abroad. But also don't look for malicious ways. There are very legal systems in Kenya to walk through it and to come, you know, to go to countries abroad, you know, in United States, UK, in very legal, you know, ways. Don't be lied and, you know, be exploited in the process. So so after high school, I got lucky to be part of the Equity Learners program. So Equity Learners Stroke Leaders program is basically a program, if you're Kenyan, you've probably heard about it. So they normally tutor students who performed well in high school and give them jobs to, you know, get money and save money for campus and all that. So I was lucky to be among the Equity Leaders Program scholars. So I got a chance to actually work and save money for my, you know, public school, university school for that instance in Kenya. And I had been selected to go study at Kenyatta University. Hey, my Kenyatta people, I miss I had like the most awesome classmates in KU, by the way. I really appalled you guys. So yeah, so I did work for some period of time, saved some money, and I went to study at KU. But then at the back of the mind, I always knew that the money that I had at that particular point was not going to be enough to take me through the journey or through my whole my whole degree in Kenyatta University. I mean, it was enough to get me started for maybe the first semester and the second semester, and that's all. And then what next? Like, so where does money come from for my education? So I kind of like used to be that kind of person who kind of like thought, you know, like 10 steps ahead of myself. So I had to come up with like, you know, ways on how I thought I could solve the problem long run. So my main motivation of studying abroad, as I said, was coming from a humble family where I knew that, you know, my family was going to struggle for in terms of like paying fees, support and all that. So that was kind of my motivation. So I was determined to like, you know, look for ways on, and you know, like open-minded to try ways on how I could solve the situation. Okay, so so through the Equity Leaders Program, they normally have sessions where they tutor their scholars in terms of like, you know, applying to universities abroad. So they help you in terms of like, you know, like so they have boot camps, in short, like, which they help you in preparation of how to apply to universities abroad, how to sit for those exams. So if you might not know, so before you can actually like go study abroad, there are normal like exams that you have to write, to sit for. So there's SCTs exams, there PSAT exams, there's TOEFL for English requirement exams, and all those exams are like mandatory, and they also require money because they're very expensive exams. Back then when I was doing my SATs, it was around 10,000 Kenya shillings, and that's a lot of money, especially if you're on campus and like you're saving that money by yourself because the situation, yeah. So I did all those all those exams. So I did SATs, and I remember when I did my SATs, I didn't really do well. Like I didn't pass like very well. I mean, like my score was okay, but it wasn't like good, especially like when you're coming from like Kenyan system high school and you've passed, and then now you're writing like American exams, and then you're not doing well, and then you're feeling like you're not enough, kind of thing. So I didn't really pass my SATs well. I got like I would say a very good grade, but not a very best grade, if I make sense. So so that was kind of for me very demotivating in terms of like will the universities abroad actually like accept me with such such score, which is also kind of amazing to actually learn later that the scores they don't really factor that much, because this interviewers and school boards, they just want to get to know you as a person, like who are you, what defines you. So always make sure when you are doing your university applications, you put the best forward and be authentic and be yourself, because that's all these people are looking for, literally. So like sometimes we get so stressed and get way above ourselves in terms of like, I didn't perform well, what is gonna happen, they're gonna judge me in terms of my grades. But there's so many aspects that go around just before you can get a university admission. So I would advise you to actually put preparation into it, like especially in essays, like those university essays, put your best on them. So personally, I applied to many universities, and the truth is I didn't really put much preparation in my in my university applications. So for me back then, I only focused on quantity rather than quality. So I was rushing into like applying as many universities as I can, like many universities. So I applied to so many universities, and I got as well so many rejections because I didn't put the best forward in my in my university applications, because I was just like rushing in terms of like like just getting it done and submitted, and getting the next one started with and the next one submitted, and so on. And like in that way I didn't put much preparation into it. So I would advise, if you're looking to study abroad, to put preparation into whichever university that you're looking to prepare for. So of course my first round and my early actions, they were all terrible. Most of them just came rejections, and it was just horrible. I was so depressed at that point, because I was like, what is happening? Like why can't I get, like I thought I could do this and all that. But now I didn't give up, of course. So I waited for like second applications, and then for second applications I didn't even like apply to many schools. I think I only applied to 3 schools, and I gave them my soul and my energy. Sorry guys, it's a truck just passing by. Yeah, so I gave them my soul and my energy in those applications, and I got admissions in them. So you see, like instead of like applying to like 30 schools, you can just choose to apply to a few schools, give them your soul and your best, and wait for the universe to decide. But also, I mean, if you have the energy to put work in each application and apply to like 50 applications, why not? But also they kind of need money. So some universities, they have like application fees, and you'll be surprised to notice that these universities, they normally have fee waivers. So you can always request the admission board to to like waive your fee and give them like a very good reason of why you can't really afford to pay that fee, regardless of you wanting to apply to that particular university. So yeah, so there's normally like those aspects which you feel like they're kind of like barriers to you applying to universities abroad, but most of the time you just need to like take those barriers and channel them into being your motivation in actually getting it done and all that. And you'll be surprised how much support there is in terms of like so many agencies, both public and private, that are willing to assist you in the process, also in terms of like scholarships and everything, which I feel like that should be also another video that I should do in terms of like applying for scholarships and like possible scholarships that you can find in Kenya, because there are so many scholarships in Kenya to study abroad. You just need to be very keen to choose and filter the ones that are very genuine, because you don't want to like land into weird situationships when you get abroad. So yeah, so basically that's my story for today. I felt like I needed to share that because most of you guys have been asking about like the journey, my story from Kenya all the way to coming to study here. So basically that was my process. So I had the dream and I went for it. So if you have a dream, don't be afraid to dream, and don't be afraid to put the work into the dream, because everything at the end normally works if you have good intentions and you work hard for it. Thank you for watching. I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye.